unfortunately marketed as catastrophic disease. I'll give you the story with hepatitis C. It's a pretty bad story. What happened is that one of the great American heroes that nobody talks about because he was quiet was Arm & Hammer. And one of the many things he did is make soap, but he lost his wife at 39 years old to cancer and vowed for two things in his life. He put millions, he didn't just talk about it, he put billions, I think, into these two things. To heal cancer, and the second thing was to create world peace. He took the much younger Ronnie Reagan, put him in Air Force One, and made him meet Gorbachev. That was the guy, as Ronnie Reagan was calling him Dark Vader or something, he said, hey, this guy's not Dark Vader, go talk to him. And he brought him to Russia, and that's how the whole thing started. That was who he was. Second thing was he heavily funded interferon and interleukin research, I think at the University of Maryland. Now, what interferon and interleukin are two really hot juices for the immune system. You get that happening in the immune system gets muscle and starts to kick ass. And he was funding that. Now, when he died, that money dried up. They were going to launch it as an anti-cancer drug compared to, what, chemotherapy, radiation. And as soon as it came on the market, it was off within a matter of 2 years because they so discredited the companies who make chemo and radiation. You know, they made bogus studies up and said, this is bad, it's doing this, like they try to do to stevia. Finally, it was approved, but a year ago they were telling you stevia gave you cancer. Did you know that? Just like right now, all of you that are up, all the Americans here are outraged about what the government's going to do. You know who's getting you to be outraged? The pharmaceutical industry. Right. You're like puppets. You're just doing exactly what they say. These people want to help you. And people are fighting against their own will. You know, their own good. It just doesn't make sense to me. People are that thick. But the same thing with this. So what do? They took it off the market. It was on the shelf. The research stopped. The original research didn't say, give it generically to people. It would say, personalize it. You give me somebody with hepatitis C or cancer, etc., we're going to take their blood serum out. We're going to take it to a lab, match it up, and create antibodies with interferon and interleukin and inject it back so it's personalized. What happened is AIDS came out. And this is where it started. They put the boy who couldn't spell potatoes, they put him in charge of this one. But he basically made it so that now pharmaceutical industry doesn't have to do any due diligence. That if there's an urgent need, like they're doing with this so-called swine flu, they put crap on the market without any research or backing. And they fast-track it is what they call it. They railroad it is what they should say. They railroad it in. So the other thing with the politics around AIDS, 90% of us are heterosexual. We're not homosexual. And the reality is they made it a homosexual disease. In this country, by the way, it's a heterosexual disease everywhere else in the world, but here it's a homosexual disease. So they made it really a bad thing to fund for about 10 years. So AIDS lost it, and by the way, if AIDS lost it, 10 years went on hepatitis C. I used to watch people with hepatitis that weren't getting well, and it was really puzzling because everyone gets well with hepatitis A and B. They must have had hepatitis C, and it must have been 30, 40 years ago when I started to recognize that. Hear these people? So it was out there, but nobody knew what it was. So we backed up research. They put interferon on the market and said, okay, we don't want to do this for AIDS, these gay people. And these people with hepatitis C, there's too small an amount. We don't want to spend more money on research. Billions it takes sometimes. Let's throw this old drug on the market, generically. Now that's why it doesn't work. They're telling you it works 30, 40% of the time. It works less than 5% of the time. And who does it work for? The person who's lucky enough that just happens to match what they need. 95% of the people, it weakens you, make you sicker, and by the way, you never get better from it. They put what's the second one that they put it with? Interferon and ribo something, because they realize they can make money on two. Just like recently, they no longer say that it's fat clogging up your arteries that give you heart attacks and stroke. Now it's inflammation too. So now they get you an inflammatory drug as well as a cholesterol drug. And if you're really lucky and not smart, they're going to give you one together and charge you double the amount of money. And by the way, if you wait 5 years, they'll say, it's not only inflammation, not only clogged up, it's a rambabulumbalia. And they'll give you a drug for that too. So watch yourself. You can get it. We're going down this road now, yes. Yes. Do you have a question?
No.
Yeah.
My father is 86 years old. He has an older brother. They both have Alzheimer's. What are my chances of getting Alzheimer's, and if so, what should I do about it? And even if not, hereditary-wise, what should I do to prevent it?
The major causes of Alzheimer's disease, and this is fact, this isn't fiction. Long-term B12 deficiency, essential fatty acid deficiency, and brain use. The last one we'll start with. There's a young guy in his 40s up at Harvard who's done remarkable studies. If you read my book, Longevity, a lot of things I quote in there are from him. But he actually looked at the classic gene. Now, there's a few things we genetically understand. There is a classic gene for Alzheimer's disease. If you have that gene, the likelihood of you getting Alzheimer's is higher than the average person. He's now starting to test people who are 100 years old, don't have Alzheimer's, but have the classic gene. And he says, what's the commonality with these people? They use their brains. They're doing crossword puzzles 4 hours a day. They're dating at 95 years old. They're out volunteering at hospitals or at nursing homes. You know, they're active. They're keeping their brain going. So overwhelmingly, you notice I started with brain use. It's not nutrition. But even if you didn't have an Alzheimer's gene, but it's certainly if you do, and you most likely do, basically, if you starve the body of essential fats and B12 empowers neurons, how you think, you're in trouble. If I stop taking B12 and essential fatty acids, I could end up with memory loss, dementia, or Alzheimer's disease. And I don't have that genetic. You certainly could. You do this, the likelihood of you getting Alzheimer's is 0. But I mean this. And you better get into crossword like my father-in-law. Aunt Maria's father is an extraordinary character. He's like machoist. He's like, you know, Clint Eastwood, and he's 83 years old. It's like amazing. And he reads 6 hours a day. The guy's prolific, without glasses. He got pissed off when he was 45. He had glasses. He broke them, smashed them, and he does Bates eye exercises every day for 10 minutes. This is what you can do. It's brain use. It's brain use.
Does the World Food Diet assist?
It's going to assist by the fact you're going to get essential fatty acids, but it's not going to take away Alzheimer's. You could get it on this if you lack B12, and for some reason stop eating sprouts, stop eating the things that are essential fats. It's really good. I mean, it's mechanical. Remember this. It's not a diet. It's the things within a diet that protect you. But again, how about if you did all of this, have the Alzheimer's gene, but don't use your brain? Now, you wouldn't get full blast Alzheimer's disease, but you'd have dementia. Do you follow me? So you got to do it all. Just like I tell you, you can't be healthy just eating right. You got to exercise. Keep going down the road. Yes.
The difference between green algae and blue-green algae, could you maybe differentiate when we need to use, if we need to use both?
In our household, we take 5 forms of algae a day. Now, I'm not suggesting everyone do that. We also buy this wholesale, so you get that. And so the perfect world is what we tell you in private consultation. Because we're looking at your blood, we're looking at your history, we're getting to know you. That changes as time goes and you send back blood. That's the perfect world. The generic world is, if you can't afford a lot, maybe you want to take a blue-green algae, like the general one, if you don't have brain problems or arthritic problems. That's all you need. And then the green algae. I take, 15 to 25, depending upon the day, of chlorella every day. And so these are things you need. And I'm very active. I lift weight. I exercise. And so for me, it's protein besides fixing the DNA. I'm happy, so I want to live longer. You could live exactly everywhere we're telling you. But if you make the DNA stronger, you'll live longer than that.